there is a mess in the lightweight division, and I think I have an answer to the mess in the division. So you can read here, Islam's team have rejected the idea of fighting Ilia Topuria because Islam wants to get a win. Makes sense. You know what? That makes sense because so far, Islam beat Charles Oliveira really good. Then he beat Volkanovski in a very close fight. Then he beat Volkanovski again on short notice because Oliveira pulled out. And then he beat, who was it even again? Dustin Poirier in an even closer fight than the Volkanovski fight. And then he beat Moicano. That's 5 title defenses, very good wins, very good names. But there's a point to go with every win. There's like, oh, well, he was short notice, he was a featherweight, he was this, he was that. There's so, for each one of his defenses, there's a point to make. So I understand why they want Ilia to get a win, because if he wins, it's going to be like, oh, he fought another featherweight. He was too small for the division. All that type of stuff. We always hear it. Which is fair enough. I'm all for shitting on Dagestani fighters. I'm all for it. But Islam's cool. Let's keep on it. Then we'll move on to Charles Oliveira calling out Islam Makhachev for an International Fight Week title shot. Brother, you had absolutely nothing for Arman Tsarukyan on the feet and on the ground other than the submissions you got. If there was no submissions in that fight, Arman dominated you start to finish. 30-27 if you didn't get those submissions. You had nothing other than them submissions. There was no... Honestly, I rewatched that fight the other night. There was no highlight from Charles Oliveira other than the submissions. And I'm glad they gave that to Arman, because I was raging saying Oliveira got robbed when it first happened. But realistically, Arman was the correct winner. There was more damage on his... he damaged Oliveira, cut him open, beat him, elbowed him. He clearly won that fight, is what I'm saying. So you can't give Oliveira, coming off a win over 2-4 in the UFC, Chandler, and a loss over fucking the rightful number one contender, Arman Tsarukyan. That's just retarded. And you can't give Gaethje that title shot because he's barely beat Fiziev. Fiziev is shit. Hang on, and that is a bit harsh. Fiziev is really good. I like him so much, but you're just not top level. You can't be top level. But you barely beat that guy, Justin Gaethje. You almost got submitted by him in that fucking rematch. Come on. I'll take back calling Fiziev shit. I don't know. It just rolled off the tongue really quickly. I love watching him fight. He's one of my favourite fighters. Probably one of the better strikers in the division. I'm just going to take that back really quick. But you barely beat that guy and you almost got submitted by a striker. Imagine what Islam would do. I know he's got really good takedown defense, but they said that about Khabib, and look what Khabib did. Take him down easily. So, Charles doesn't deserve the rematch. That's one. Beating fucking 2-4. And then they're like, oh, well, he was signed to fight Islam Makhachev. And then he pulled out. How about this? How about this really quick, yeah? How about this? How about you don't start sparring 2 weeks out from a fight with elbows? With elbows. He got cut open by an elbow. What the fuck were they doing in the lead up to that camp? Sorry, you need 2 more wins. At least 2 wins. Or 1 really good win. Like an Arman Tsarukyan in a rematch. But we'll get on to how I would matchmake the division in a second. You do not deserve it, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Charles Oliveira cut out. No, you're not getting that title shot. You don't deserve it. Gaethje, you barely beat Fiziev. Before then, you got knocked out by Max Holloway, who I'd rather see fight for the title. He isn't fighting for the title, by the way. I've made a slideshow in a second. I'll show who I would design everyone with and all that type of stuff. But let me just talk about the Gaethje. No. Gaethje, just no. You should fight. We'll get on to that. And, there's not many people in the division who are deserving of a title shot. It's Arman or Topuria. And we'll get on to that now. So first, we'll get into it. I think Oliveira should fight Topuria. They've got a little bit of back and forth going on. It'd be really good for the division. There'll be a bit of animosity there, I guess. By the way, you don't understand how long it took me to find this image of Ilya Taporia without the belt. You know what I mean? It took so long. I'm gonna stop waffling about that. That took so long. You don't understand. Um, so I think Oliveira versus Taporia should be next, and this should be for a title shot. Oliveira beats Taporia. No doubt he deserves a title shot. No doubt he does. Yeah. And Taporia, if he beats Oliveira, then there's his win. And say if he knocks him out in the first round or something, because Oliveira's really chinny, then he can be like, well, I beat Islam Makhachev quicker than I beat Oliveira quicker than Islam Makhachev. I deserve the title shot, and then he can go back and forth, talk about how he beat the guy that took him 2 rounds to finish. That is not getting cut out, by the way. You just can deal with it. It's a cough. You're not going to die. So I think this is a great idea. Oliveira versus Taporia, and I'm kind of more hyped for this than Islam Makhachev, because I just think he'll get out-muscled by Islam Makhachev, to be honest. But then we'll move on to the next fight I would make for Justin Gaethje. The trilogy just needs to happen. I don't understand why people aren't calling for this. I swear it's me, and that's it. Nobody wants to see this, and I'm just like, well, the 1-1. Gaethje just head kicked his head off, and Poirier fucking battered him in the 4th round ages ago. We need to see this. Then like this can be Poirier's retirement fight, and then if Gaethje wins, he can fight like the loser of the title shot, who I've gave it to in a second because it's after this, and then he can fight the loser of that, and then get a title shot from that. And this is it's all making sense. And then if Poirier wins this one, I've got a feeling that he might actually fight again if he wins. So that's why I'd be hoping he loses. Honestly, if I'm honest, I don't even know how Gaethje is winning. He doesn't look that fundamentally good, you know what I mean? But he just wins, which is fair enough. If he's winning, he's winning. But then now we'll get on to Islam Makhachev's fight. Just rebook it. For real, just rebook it. You can't be like, oh, he doesn't deserve it, let's give it to Gaethje. Well, he doesn't deserve it, he's coming up from featherweight. He doesn't deserve it because he's fought Chandler, you know what I mean? The only if you're going to talk about who's deserving, it's Sarukian. You have to rebook it. And it's Islam's hardest fight, and we're just sort of dodging it like, oh, he would have beat him anyway. On that same card, his teammate, Umar Nurmagomedov, lost. If you wanted to see him lose, and let's say you hate the Dagestanis, as much as I do, but not particularly Islam Makhachev or Umar, it was more Khabib, but their fan base is horrible, by the way, we all know that. But if you want to just see Islam lose, his biggest chance of losing was on the Umar card, because like he said, he couldn't focus, his teammate lost, he'd never fight on the same night as his teammate, or something like that, he said at the post-fight press conference. And he was fighting his toughest challenge in Arman Tsarukyan. You know. So, there's your answer. Rebook this. Rightful, most deserving contender. Yes, he pulled out. He beat Oliveira's ass outside of the submissions. He beat him clearly. Anyone who calls that fight a robbery, they have no clue what they're watching. Was it close? Yes. Who showed they were the better fighter? Arman Tsarukyan. Before that, he KO'd Beneil Dariush easier than anyone he's lost to. Beneil Dariush has lost to. Anyone. He's clearly the second best fighter in this division until we see Ilya to perform. Because he could be really good at 155. We don't know. He fought Jai Herbert, got head kicked. You never know. He might come and just be shit after changing his name to Legend or something. The Legend. By the way, what is such a lame name. What a lame name he created for himself. But yeah, I think Arman Tsarukyan should fight for the title, even because of his back injury pullout. Arman Tsarukyan is clearly the next contender in line. He's the most deserving. We can't talk about who's the most deserving. It's clearly Arman Tsarukyan, and I won't hear otherwise. And then we'll just get a little bit of fun here. Who should Hooker fight next? For the BMF belt. Just makes sense, doesn't it? You're not fighting Gaethje, but if we're going to give Arman Tsarukyan like the shit that he got given for pulling out with a back injury, I know he tried to impress Nina Drama, used meat by doing that fucking flipped over and over again. But let's be real. He had a back injury already going into it. You know, and he couldn't cut the weight. So I think we should make Hooker versus Holloway, BMF belt, put it on the line, and maybe the winner can fight. Actually, could fight the winner of Gaethje versus Poirier, and that'll be a trilogy for Holloway because I reckon he'd win this one. But yeah, actually no, I reckon Hooker would win this one because Holloway's been knocked out, and I don't think he's ever going to be the same. I keep forgetting that actually happened. It was an AI generated video. It doesn't feel normal saying that Holloway just got knocked out. But yeah, that's how I would matchmake the division. I think Hooker versus Holloway. Fucking hell. Makhachev versus Sarukian. It's the only logical choice here. You're gonna have to give him it. Gaethje versus Poirier 3. That has to happen. Come on, before Poirier retires, it has to happen. I want to see it. Oliveira versus Poirier. There's a bit of beef there. It'll be entertaining. I don't see how this is even a question and how this should be even sorted out. It's clear to me, and it's just these retards. I think Dana White is so like not stuck up, but like so like pissed off of Arman Tsarukyan for pulling out last second that he's like, you ain't getting a title shot. He's gonna be stubborn about it. But realistically, you should just give him it, because you gotta think now. Islam's chance of losing now might be a little bit less because his teammate hasn't just lost in the fight previous. You know what I mean? And it might be time for Islam might dash choke him. You know what I mean? He might finish what Oliveira couldn't do. But yeah, and just for clarification, I think Taporia would knock him out. I think I think Gaethje would not knock him out, but I think beat him a decision, not at Salt Lake City. I think Makhachev would beat him, but barely. Maybe a robbable decision, maybe to get Makhachev, but maybe even Sarukian because they are going to, what is it, Algeristan or something like that. It's in the Caucasus Mountains. It's where Fiziev is from. And then Holloway Hooker. But yeah, comment your opinions on this topic. Like the video. I make predictions every single week. Yeah, on every single card, full card, whole thing, top to bottom. It's worth a follow. Subscribe anyway. You may as well do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.